Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Inside Track, where you hear the stories that create success. Today, we have the Jackpot. We have Steve Starr.
Hello, Bruce. Thank you for bringing me on your podcast.
Definitely.
This is the Jackpot, 281 New York Avenue, Rochester, Pennsylvania. Okay, we are open 6 days a week, 12 noon to 12 p.m. Okay, and we are open and we're available for parties in private times. And you just need to see myself or Gene, and we'll be able to help you get through navigate any of that situation.
All right. We got that out of the way. Now I know you guys want to know how this all came about. This is one of the most popular spots in Rochester. Steve, how did this all happen?
Well, this was something that my wife had thought about doing and wanted to do and had discussed doing. And after a couple of years, we decided that we were going to do it. She owned the building here in Rochester, and it was COVID. Nobody was doing anything, and everybody was trying to buy the building but nobody wanted to pay us what we wanted to pay for it. So we just converted it into a slot parlor casino.
Nice. Now, was you always into stuff like that, like into the slot stuff?
No, I don't play. I don't. I wasn't into it. It was just someone had approached the idea to her years back,
Right.
and she brought it up to me, and I said, "Well, let's just build one." So we built it. It took us about 3 years to get it to where it is now. Okay, but it's a fun place. We're very, very laid back. Okay, we take care of our guests. All guests get walked to their car. When they leave here, money or no money, whatever you got in your pocket, doesn't matter. You get walked out, you get taken to your vehicle.
Beautiful.
And it's not, our neighborhood is fine, but what we have is a lot of traffic. So we're just more concerned about the traffic, and we don't want somebody getting stop and laugh or talking in the street with their friend and get run over. So we take everybody out.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
Thank
Nice. That's just beautiful, man. I remember, when you first started this and I first
You
came
were one of
in.
the first people I had in here.
You had a few machines in here, but now I look around and it's like you could definitely see the growth, and it's beautiful, man. It's beautiful.
Yep, we updated it a little bit. We put we do a lot of maintenance. We try to keep it up.
Now
Okay.
you do your own when your machines are down. You do your own repairs, right?
Well, no, I have a tech that comes in once a month, and he's certified. And he anything that's not working, printer or a board goes bad, he changes it and he gets it done.
Nice.
And now I can do the basics. I can fix printers, or I can fix a jam or something like that. And I can, but I'd rather have somebody. He's a professional. That's what he knows. I'll stay in my own lane.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So how'd you acquire your first machine?
Well, I went and looked around because I knew there were people who leased them.
Okay.
I just didn't know anybody who did.
Right.
And I had a young man that was working for me in here, just hauling lumber back and forth, a big, strong kid. And he had went to a party and told somebody that he was at a party that he was working with a guy that wanted to do this. 2 days later, I was on the phone with his friend, and we hooked up a deal, and I picked up a few machines from him. And,
Nice.
And going ever since.
Nice. Now, did you come in like once you knew you wanted to do this, did you have like confidence, or was there like fear behind it, or like any shakiness about doing it?
There's always a little bit of fear.
Right.
Okay. But the fear could be good because it could make a challenge. Okay. I've been in the sales business for my whole life. Okay. I sold Coca-Cola or had something to do with that for 40 plus years, but I've always wheeled and dealed. Okay. As a person. Okay. Customer service was always very important to me.
Nice. So that's what you did before you did this?
Yes.
Nice. You did like sales and stuff?
Yeah. Sales and marketing and, training, I did a lot of that stuff, but this was an idea that my wife had, and we turned it into reality. It just took us it took us some time, took us a lot of hard work. You gotta, I try to get most of my business is night business.
Right.
We stay open till midnight, and we don't go home early because That guy that gets out of work at 11:30, if he wants to walk in, that young lady wants to come in at 11:30, we're going to let him come in and play.
Right.
Okay. We don't throw you out. Okay. People, our machines are spaced out. We keep everything spread out. We're on the floor at all times. If we're working, we're on the floor.
Right.
We're with the customers. We work with our customers. And that's just the way it is. It's all, to me, it's all about customer service.
Right. Exactly.
If you want to beat the other guy, you got to provide better customer service. If you
Right.
want customers to stay in your facility, you need to give them customer service. And each customer is going to need a little different service. One lady might need a cup of coffee when she sits down.
Right.
Yeah, and the other guy might want his Diet Coke to be there. Excuse me. You have to know and remember what they want. And we do that.
Right.
I think we pride ourselves on that.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. It's a great atmosphere. You know, it's a great atmosphere. It has when you walk in, it feels like you're just walking into your home. You know.
And that's exactly what we wanted. Our idea was that everyone's welcome. If you look on my board, it says on the very top of my board, and that was written on there the day I opened the door, everybody's welcome. Okay?
Beautiful.
Everybody's welcome. You know, you got to prove yourself in life. Okay? All we want people to do is come in and have a good time.
Right.
If you're playing and you're winning and your friends are all hanging around your machine cheering with you, we're all fine. But if if you're sitting here playing and somebody's over there and they start hanging around your machine or getting close to what you're doing, okay, we will say to you, hey, they're not looking for company.
Right.
They'll play your machine.
Right.
Okay, we're real calm about it. We don't start saying it. We just want people to know that if somebody wants you to cheer and hang out with them, they'll have you.
Right.
But we have a ladies' night here, okay,
Nice.
the second Tuesday of second Thursday of every month.
All right.
And it is a blast.
Nice.
These women cheer for each other. They got little phrases they yell, pay the lady. They just enjoy themselves. But they get free food.
Oh.
We feed them for the evening, okay? And we give them a $20 free match play.
Oh.
So what we do is you put in your $20, we put in our $20.
Okay.
Okay? You got to play on that money for, and for 30 minutes. If you've got money left after that 30 minutes, that's your money. Okay? If you're out of money, well, just put your money in and keep on playing. Have a good time.
I was going to ask that.
Yeah.
You
just keep on playing. Yeah, we do match plays. We have a little player's card.
Okay.
Okay, the player's card has 12 punches on it. Every time you play 30 minutes, you get a punch. Okay? And after the end of that punch, you'll get a dollar amount.
Okay.
Okay? And a lot of people use that card. It's good for them. And they'll use that card and they'll get a little bit of free play at the end of their 12 plays, and they're thrilled. They like it. And it gives them an incentive to come back because they're going to receive something.
Right.
You know?
Right. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Nice.
Yeah, we enjoy the fact that when our customers are leaving here, they're smiling.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Somebody's not going to win every day in a slot machine business.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
But they understand most people that come at our facility are very educated players. It just appears like they've been playing long enough to understand how it works.
Yeah, definitely. And on top of that, it's the atmosphere. That's like number one. 'Cause as soon as you come in here, you just feel
Welcome.
right at home. You feel welcome. You feel right at home. I mean, every time I come here, I'm just like, yeah.
We want people to feel welcome.
Yes. And that's the first thing that happens.
We try to let people know that, hey, you got anything that you need, just ask us.
Right.
If there's something that you want we have a little beverage section here, and we have a little snack area. And if there's something people want, we just tell them, just write it on the board.
Right.
We'll get it.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
We'll put it in here for you. It's just like being at home. You get, if you write the list on the grocery store, you leave on the refrigerator, and everybody knows what to get. And people like that. Customers say, hey, I want pretzels in a bag. Okay, so we get pretzels in a bag.
Right.
Right. It's just that easy.
That's not too much to do it. See, a lot of places don't. You have the machine set up and that's it. And you go to a lot of places. I mean, I've been to a couple places.
Yeah.
They have they have them. You just get the machine set up and there's no atmosphere, and then it's like at that time you're just looking for something to do, spend a little wasting time.
Yeah.
When you come here, it's just a whole different feeling, and that's just
because you don't know if we're going to play the dart game today. Okay, you never know what we're going to come up with. We have our board. We have a monthly board, and most of our customers will take a picture of that board, and it tells what events we're going to have. We're going to have a match play. We're going to have a double punch place day. So that means that little player's card, if you come and play, you get 2 punches that day instead of 1. And people like all that. And, and you can see they'll follow that. If it's somebody, a lot of people will follow that, and they'll show up on those days when you got your special events. But that's what you want. You want people to come in and get to know each other. Right. Ladies' night in here is so much fun because these women all cheer for each other. They talk for each other. They run all around. They feel so welcomed and so at home that there's people in their late 80s in here playing on ladies' night, all the way down to 25-year-old women, and they all get along.
Nice.
They all talk. They all cheer for each other. And that's kind of what we were looking for, is that kind of atmosphere. People to come in and have a good time and relax.
And you got it.
So far, that's our goal.
So when you have like your special events like birthdays and stuff like that, how does that go about?
Well, it's different ways depending on what type of people are coming.
Okay.
So if you say to me, I want to rent your place for a birthday party.
All right.
Okay. Well, I'll block 4 hours on a Sunday because we don't open normally on a Sunday, or and what we'll do is we'll say, listen, in that 4 hours, I have different formats. If you tell me I'm going to have 25 people and they all play, okay, well, then we'll provide food. We'll do some things like that. And I try to use the local businesses.
Right.
Okay.
That's important.
I use the local restaurants. I use the local grocery stores. Okay. Most of what I try to buy when I feed and have food services is the local people out of the local restaurants.
That's important.
Well, that's what I'm a small local business.
Right.
My wife has a small local business, so we know what it's like.
Right. So with your background in sales and stuff like that, how easy was it to apply that
to transition?
Yeah.
It's all part of it. Everything I do now is I have to sell myself to sell the business.
Right.
You have to sell yourself.
True.
And so to me, it's everyday normal. It's normal for me to walk up to somebody and start talking about the Jackpot, hand them a card. Don't even know them, but it doesn't matter to me because I spent a lifetime cold calling. So this just kind of is a part of it. Just the building it. I mean, I rebuilt this inside of this building, restructured it, and not structured, but moved up down, cleaned it all up nice, and
done some.
So I learned a lot of stuff there. So hopefully I'm learning something every day.
Did some renovations. It definitely looks different from the first time.
Well, we try to put new rugs down, put new floors in. Fix up the entryway, and we just want the place to look nice. Like you said, when you come in, you feel welcome.
Right.
Okay, and everybody should feel welcome when they come in.
Definitely.
We hope that's what people feel. We hear that.
Yeah.
We hear a lot of people say, "I love it. I feel welcome." But you guys always make me feel welcome. But they only deal with 2 of us, as I said before earlier. They only deal with 2 of us. It's 2 of us, and we're both older men. And we're both relaxed enough to just take care of the customer. My partner's Gene. He's the same way. He feels customer service is very important to him too. So we have a great time with that.
Definitely.
But a lot of people told me that Rochester wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen in Rochester. But there's too many people in town here. There's a lot of folks that live in this town that like to play. And when they come in here, they see what's here, that we see them again. It's just our hardest part is getting enough information out, for people to find us.
Right.
If I think if people found us and saw what they had in here and what we had, they would understand. They would probably see more.
So how many machines do you have in here now?
I have 22 machines running. 22 machines.
22 machines. That's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice. Being in different places, you'll see 5, 6 machines.
Right.
And it's like you go back to the place like the local gas stations will have a couple machines there, and it's like you see people in there beating on the machines, and and it's like that's not enticing to want to play.
Right.
I don't want to play that after. You're seeing somebody yelling and screaming at the
slamming
machine.
it. And,
yeah. It's like I want to go somewhere where I feel comfortable. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I have never been anywhere where I felt like I actually want to play, because I don't really get into, playing machines and stuff like that. But when I come here,
well, there's one thing. Before I opened this, I was out riding on a motorcycle after we talked about, and I went to a lot of different places, West Virginia. I went out into Kentucky, different areas where they do these. And a lot of people said the same thing, that they weren't comfortable going into their slot parlors or because they were dingy, they were dirty, smoky. Okay. And that was the opposite for us. I mean, we just said, okay, it's going to be wide open, it's going to be bright, and it's going to be airy. You know, so we open the place up, we keep it spacious, you know, and I think people like that. You know, they're not sitting 2 feet away from each other or a foot and a half from the other person.
Right.
Okay, and it makes it people seem to like it a lot more.
Yeah.
You know, it gives them a little room that they can float back and forth. So we like this spread out feeling instead of closing ourselves right in.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
That's always a good feeling, you know.
I'm kind of an outdoor guy myself. I'd rather be. You know?
Right. Right. Yeah, we've you know, we've played golf in the past before, and those Nemacolin
Yes.
trips, those were beautiful.
You know, I just talked about that to somebody a couple of years ago. I think it was maybe 3 or 4 years ago. We took 6 teams from that little golf course to Nemacolin, and donated to that beautiful function that they do out there for Mary's house. Okay.
Yep.
And some of us came home with trophies. We did. We did.
That's always a blast.
3rd place. We took.
I remember that.
All the teams. Yep.
Yeah.
That was a beautiful time. That was fun.
Yes.
That was a fun time.
Yeah, and the Ryder Cups were fun too.
Yes.
The Ryder Cups.
Oh,
were fun.
yes. They were all. You know, I tell you what, we have played some golf together. We've had some fun.
Yeah.
But,
Definitely looking forward to some.
Yeah, we're back at it this way. Winter's over.
Yeah.
I keep telling myself that until I walk outside and it's too cold for me to do anything.
I'm always talking about putting a simulator in. You know, I was looking around for the best prices, but actually the best system for the best price. You know, there's so many options out there.
Right.
You know, and it's like, do you build your own? Do you get pre-made? You know what I mean?
We thought about that in here, and actually we put a few nets up and everything and did the nets for a year. Okay. But the sound, when it released off the face of that club, would deafen people down and playing, so we dropped that quick. We weren't going to do it, you know, it was too loud.
Yeah, that's definitely disturbing.
Yeah, it was definitely harder.
Yeah.
So, but there's places around now where you can hit that golf ball. You got a lot of driving ranges out there now. There's a few out there around here.
I played at the Ironwood.
Ironwood up on the hill over there. That's a nice driving range. You know, you got to get used to the hill.
I went out there. Was out there yesterday. So when we was coming out here yesterday, I wasn't thinking about golfing or nothing.
Yeah,
I was just thinking, okay, we got the podcast stuff. We're gonna do this. Blah blah blah. And so we started talking about golf, and I was like, oh man, I didn't bring my clubs. So I was like, there's a driving range around here? I called the courses, and they said, yeah, I forget where I called, but they said, yeah, we rent clubs, but we're about to close. I said, okay, cool. So I called the Ironwood.
Yeah.
And I said, do you have clubs? He said, yeah, we got clubs. I'm like, cool. I go down there, he hands me a driver.
Yeah.
That's all he had.
That's right. Okay.
You know, and I was like, okay, you know.
Oh, hey.
But the thing was, I started chipping with the driver, and pitching with the driver, and I'm like, hey, this is good. I'm glad I didn't have a different array of clubs because I learned how to, you know,
hit your club a little different.
Exactly. I was going different flags, try to hit different flags
with the driver.
Yeah. It worked out. You know, I got a good result from it. Am I going to be able to translate that to the course? Probably not.
Well, that's why you have them other clubs that are supposed to get you.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to do that baby driver.
Right.
Remember the baby driver term?
Yeah. I got to get my grips redone on mine. I've had those clubs since 2018.
And you didn't grip them yet?
I've never gripped them. So, you know, they're a little slippery.
A little slippery?
Yeah, and then, you know, holding my hands loose. It makes you want to tighten it.
Right, because you got to slide out.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting some
gripped up.
Yeah, for this season. Because I won a major last year.
So, yeah, you play in that league up there, right?
Yeah, modern golf. I'm trying to win one this year, so.
There you go. You got to win. You know, if you're going to run it, you got to at least try to win one.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, before we came here, we went and seen a movie. We went to the theater up there, the Max. We went and seen what was it? Captain America.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we went in there. We're like, oh, okay. Well, before the movie starts, we're the first ones in here. After a while, we're sitting there and we're like, nobody's coming.
Yeah. Got the whole theater to yourself?
Yeah, we've never been to a theater before that nobody was in there.
Yeah.
You know, I just like, this is awesome.
I think the internet's got rid of most of the theaters, unfortunately.
That's sad.
You know, the movies don't draw like they should, you know.
Yeah.
Before it was a thrill to go to the movies for $5.50 and a bag of popcorn.
I love it.
You know, yeah.
I love it. I mean, there's nothing more nostalgic about going to a movie theater.
For me, it was always a great time to get a nap.
Yeah.
I have to admit. I can get a nap with the kids, nobody even know. Yeah.
They can enjoy the movie and you can get your nap.
I would. Can't fib.
We have a drive-in theater around our place.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, we're going to go this year. We haven't been there. We drive past it
all the time.
Yeah.
And say, I wish I would have gone here. Well, now you got to go. Yeah.
We didn't go, so we're going this year. We're definitely going this year because they have all kind of different stuff. They'll play like older movies, or they'll play. You know what I mean?
They probably do 2 a night or something, right?
Yep,
or something?
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. They do that.
Yeah, we was a drive-in theater in our town when I was a kid growing up. There was one, not right on the outskirts, so that was close.
Yeah,
and it seemed like it was always busy.
Yeah,
it was always busy.
Yeah,
back then. But
you
know, you see a lot of them now. It's just there's nobody. They're closed. They're just closed up. There's nothing going on in them. So
right.
Have a nice day. Thank you.
Nice meeting you.
Yeah. So we had a few. There's a few around still, but there's not that many around.
Yeah.
But I do think that when you check out this Sock and Hop little driving area in town, look that up on your phone, Bruce.
Okay.
I think somebody told me they might have put simulators there.
Oh.
I'm not sure. I heard something like that the other day. Some guy was in here and said, "Hey, you play golf, Steve? Did you have gone over there and hit off the simulators?"
Oh.
So I don't know. I haven't been. I was gone on vacation before since then, but I'm curious to find out this week.
Yeah. Yeah. That'd be different.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah, it'll be different. I mean, especially if you can do it right outside.
Oh yeah.
Hit into something.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Definitely.
That place will be full if that's the case.
Oh, packed.
Because
packed.
That's where I'll spend my day. I got a free minute. I'm going to go hit. But we do. Sometimes we set up little punting games. We got a little punting game. We'll set it up in here. Me and my buddy, if there's nobody around, and hit the balls with my puppy. He'll chase them and bring them back to me. But that's it. But no, I really appreciate you for having me on today.
Oh, definitely.
Jackpot is, people will come down. They will feel themselves relaxed, and they will find the atmosphere is fun.
Yeah,
because that's what it's for. We want people to come in, have fun, have a good time.
Did you ever do any like live entertainment in here?
We talked about it a little bit, but we haven't done any.
Oh, okay.
Because I think we'd have to advertise for at least 2 months before we put something in
to make it
so we get enough people in to make it work.
Right. Right.
I mean, there was one guy's come in a couple of times. He wants to tell jokes. He's a comedian.
Gotcha.
And I told him, I said, I got your number, but I really didn't know how to figure it out, how to get it. And that's honestly, I don't know enough about it. I guess I could just let him come in and do it and see how he does.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when I run it by people, nobody really gives me a response. So if I don't get that, oh, that's great. But I do get, well, yeah, okay. So I don't find that, and it's like that's knowing your customers. I think if I don't get a response, then they're not interested.
Right. Right.
Because most people would say, oh yeah, that's a good idea. I don't hear that. I hear, So in other words, they don't want to stop playing.
They don't want to,
for someone to tell jokes.
They're not into it.
Right. Yeah.
They're not into it.
And that's what sometimes when I have, when people come in with the machines that like one of the techs that works with the machines, he was trying to tell me that we should do this and this and this, and I said to him, that might work in Philadelphia.
Right.
We're in Rochester, Pennsylvania. We're a small town.
Right.
We're a working class town.
Right.
We're not sitting here with with $1 million players all over the block.
Exactly.
This is red-blooded Americans.
Yes.
Who working hard and they're spending their entertainment dollar. I want them to spend their entertainment dollar here, but I want them to get something for their entertainment. You know what I mean? And that's why we do all the little different things. We make sure. I mean, we wipe. You done play. We'll wipe the machines out. We'll wipe it all down. We'll take care of everything. We just don't let people be uncomfortable.
Right.
You know,
right.
we
That's
want people to
important.
come in here, and like you said, I always feel like I'm just going at home. But you hit it right on the head.
Right.
And that is the thing that a lot of people will tell us. You know, boy, I feel like I could just be at home. You know, and we put the TVs on, we put the games on, NCAA tournament, these people watching the games. You know, I'll turn the machine in any direction I want. Most of my machines are on dollies.
Yeah.
They're dolly wheeled machines. They roll themselves. I can turn that machine and make it so you can watch the game anytime you want. You know?
That's beautiful.
And people like it, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm surprised I don't have Rounded Around this year, but I don't have enough people interested in playing. 2 years ago, we had about 15 machines in a half circle watching with the chairs so they could look at the TV. Because there was a bunch of guys playing, okay, and a couple of women who liked the games, and so they would park it. We parked one day. We just set it up for them, and they came in and they were all just thrilled to death. You know, it's like, oh wow, I can watch the game. You know, because they would say, well, I can't see the game. I can't see the game. Turn the game up. I said, no, we'll move the machines. You know, I can't take the TV off the wall and move it all the time, but I can move the machines
Right.
and let them be comfortable. So,
Right.
and that's just one of the things. Like I say, we'll do anything to make the customer happy. If it makes them happy and they got it at the end of the day, even if they didn't win that day, they're going to go home happy because everything that they needed was taken care of. All their needs were taken care of.
Right, right. And you don't get that in a lot of, not just this business, but in a lot of businesses. You know, you have little small businesses, you know, people are too busy worried about surviving in the business and not worried about their customers.
Right.
You know, and then if you don't worry about your customers, you won't survive. You know,
And that's what, you know, when I first opened, people would come in and say, wow, you got a big, beautiful business here. And I'd say, no. I said, I'm building a business.
Right, right.
Okay.
Right.
I don't have one because the door opened.
Right,
I have to build one now,
right.
you know? And, you know, that was something I had talked with my wife just recently about, was that it takes time, you know, and she knows, and she's in business, that it takes time when you open something like this, because one month you might be good. You might be doing great. The next month and a half, you know, depending on how the economy went, you might be doing nothing.
Right,
You know?
right, very true.
So you have to be prepared in this business. You can't go into it, open it up, and think that, I'm going to make it work.
right.
I've had 6 different buildings open up within 3 miles of me, and there's only one left open.
Wow.
Okay?
Wow.
So,
It's definitely a blessing,
you
man,
know,
to
you got to be patient.
you do.
You got to be patient. You can't expect it to just, in 6 months, turn into, you know,
Yeah, the end result.
massive, yeah, right. Turn into the end result. Exactly. No other better way to describe it.
Yeah.
Because that's what I think people think, that, well, you should be doing great because you opened the door.
Right,
You know,
right,
But
right.
word of mouth, okay, is really the key in any business. But I find that here, people will come in and say, William and Mary's told me about this place, so we come to check it out, and we find that we get a lot of couples.
Okay.
Okay, after dinner, on a Friday night, they'll stop in, they'll play a little bit, but we get a lot of couples, and we see that, you know, and Saturdays we'll see quite a few couples. It's opposite. They'll come out early, they'll play a little bit, and then they'll go out, because a lot of times you can find a place to dance on a Saturday now, like in Rochester. There's little
really?
places. Yeah, they got little clubs that'll have a little bit of band, and they play a little bit, and you can dance around on a little dance floor and stuff. So
Oh, wow.
people like that, and so, you know, and then usually sometimes we get the wait staff out of the different restaurants, you know, because they're in different bars, because there's somewhere they can go.
Right, right.
Somewhere they can go, and they don't have to wait on anybody. They don't have to deal with anybody. And a lot of them are very private. I find those people, like late night people, they don't want to get into a full conversation. They just want to sit down and play and have a soda, you know, relax a little bit
Right.
before they go home.
Right,
you know?
right.
And that's
right.
why we'll stay open for them. We don't, you know, we say 12 to 12, but in the summer, I've been in here at 3:30, 4:30 in the morning, you know, with 5 and 6 players. But we don't send you home. If
Right.
it's 12:10, you ain't getting bounced out the door.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
you're going to be just as welcome as you were at 10 o'clock at night. Yeah.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The Jackpot, Rochester, Pennsylvania. Make sure you stop in. You heard the man, Steve. You got to see it for yourself. You really got to not only see it, you got to feel it for yourself. You have to feel the environment yourself, because this is a beautiful place. But hey, don't take my word for it. You got to come and check it out.
Just want to remind you, we're at 281 New York Avenue, Rochester, Pennsylvania. Zip code is 15074. Google us, MapQuest us, call me. The phone number on the Facebook page. Give me a call. If you have any questions, we'll be glad to answer.
Link will be in the description for you to be able to contact them. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for checking out another episode of The Inside Track. Make sure you subscribe and go check out the Jackpot. Telling you, it's an atmosphere like no other. Later.
Later. Thank you.